Ben trovati, buon pomeriggio a tutti, benvenuti a Altuofianco Live. Altuofianco Live è una serie di eventi live in streaming qui su Facebook e su YouTube, organizzati dal gruppo editoriale ELI per accompagnare voi docenti di tutta Italia nelle nuove sfide quotidiane che la scuola vi chiede di fronteggiare, giorno dopo giorno. Mi presento, sono Francesca Bardelloni e in casa editrice mi occupo anche di formazione. Chi già ci segue saprà che organizziamo tutte le settimane degli eventi gratuiti online dedicati alla formazione dei docenti che interessano sia tematiche di didattica che progetti editoriali. Oltre a questo abbiamo anche una piattaforma dedicata alla formazione online dei docenti che si chiama scuola.me, che potete raggiungere all'indirizzo www.scuola.me, con oltre 150 corsi di formazione dedicati ai docenti di ogni ordine e grado, da poter fruire senza alcun vincolo di orario e di data, per andare incontro veramente alle esigenze di tutti voi docenti. I percorsi che trovate su scuola.me sono anche presenti su Sofia, perché vi ricordo che il gruppo editoriale ELI è un ente accreditato per la formazione del personale della scuola. Ma torniamo al nostro incontro di oggi. Oggi parleremo di didattica digitale integrata nell'apprendimento delle lingue e lo faremo con Andy Cowle. Chi è questo speaker, questo fantastico presenter di Today, di oggi? Allora, laureato in linguistica tedesca e in inglese, dopo aver insegnato inglese nel Regno Unito e in Germania, Andy ha lavorato nel campo dell'ILT e della formazione per oltre 30 anni, in più di 40 paesi. È specializzato nell'extensive reading, i suoi corsi e seminari mirano a costruire una cultura positiva della lettura nelle scuole e ad appassionare gli aspetti più creativi dell'insegnamento e a motivare i docenti, incoraggiandoli a trovare e a provare nuove idee, ponendo in relazione l'apprendimento della lingua straniera con il mondo reale. Diamo quindi il benvenuto a Andy. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Hello, Francesca. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thanks. And you? Are you ready to talk about distance learning today?
Yes, always here. Not going anywhere soon.
And so please take the floor. I will always be there if you need me. Here you go.
Great. Thank you, Francesca. Hello, everybody. Isn't this exciting? It's fantastic. I feel alive. And it's, I think I'm trying to demonstrate, just how much effort we have to make to be upbeat, very positive for our students. It's been a long journey, I know. And I'm going to talk a little bit today, about some things that we've learned. And I think we should be very pleased with ourselves, I think. And no matter what your journey has been like, I think we have to consider just what we've learned, not the mistakes we've made, because we have made big mistakes, things have gone wrong. But, I know we're all in different mental places, different feelings about teaching, but you have to think, there was a time when many teachers, and I've met many teachers who really never wanted to use technology. And the idea of the words blended learning would make teachers go running into a corner. Was that you? Thank you for the messages. Yeah, you can, please put messages and certainly questions in the comments, and I will try to address them. My desk here is full of things that I use. Do you ever do things like this? Have you done this with your students, where you have a little thing like this? And yeah, these are some ideas I'm going to share today. But these are the things we've learned to do. For example, some people can buy a small little whiteboard from the shops and a pen, which is not permanent. Okay, and then you have, one of these. You get one of these wallets, these plastic wallets, right? And then you get some card and then some paper, and you slide it This is my kind of technology. This works, okay? And good evening, everybody. Hello, and buon pomeriggio. Buon pomeriggio. I have no Italian except the words for coffee, but teach me. I'm happy to learn. This technology, your instant whiteboard, and so you can always say to your students, "Hi, how are you feeling today?" And they can show you, or they can quickly. They have their little cloth, okay. And then maybe we've had some of this, okay? And I don't care how old the students are, they can do this. And if you have that, you know what it feels like now with all the thumbnails of the students' cameras on, if they have their cameras on. And I know that it's been a huge challenge for students who have better or less technology and connection. Oh my goodness, it's been so hard. So it's all changed, isn't it? It's all changed. And you've had things like this. Even if you didn't know this idea of making, did you know this? Put yes or no. Okay. Let's go back to happy face. Okay, happy faces. All right. A great way. I'm not sure what's happening to his mouth there. It's a really great way to see instantly. Imagine all the screen shots of your students' cameras, and they are telling you how they feel. And what or maybe just pieces of paper. Guys, hold them up. Or guys, please let me know. Did you get that? Did you see what I did? Did you understand? Are you happy? Okay, Andy, you're not happy. Okay, or maybe you're going, ooh. Andy, you seem to have a question, because sometimes it's distracting, isn't it? With comments, and you're looking in the chat and you can't keep up, or maybe your students are messaging you. So I hope that you found a way to start to decide on the etiquette of how those lessons progress. I mean, have you found a way now to navigate through the lesson, to bookends, how to start the lesson, how to finish it? I think we've all found that, the lessons take longer. And I hope you've been able to, figure out that we're still teachers. I think quite a lot of articles and webinars appeared quite soon to say, guys, look, we're going to figure this out. It's crazy. We're worried. There's pandemic worries. Parents want you to still be a perfect teacher, but you just have to remember that we are the English experts, or if you're a language teacher of German or French or whatever, you are still the teacher, and you have to focus on the outcomes. So I think most teachers learn to sort of strip back all those things that you normally do in the classroom and figure out, well, look, what do I want them to know and what do I want them to do by the end of the lesson? And I think quite soon we realize that you have to just narrow the activities a little bit more, get used to the interaction. I mean, like, for example, like this, you're getting them to show you what's going on, or maybe in the messaging function, or I hope maybe your platform, your ability to have breakout rooms. Have you really exploited the ways of using the breakout rooms? And this is a quick reminder that I'm just going to quickly look at my screen here. There's a wonderful series of resources in a booklet by Ellie, and it's called, and this is my Italian practicing, okay, give me a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. 10 is perfect for my pronunciation. Altuofianco. And I think it means by your side, which is how I feel as a trainer, as an English teacher trainer and materials, creative materials presenter, and passionate for passing on ideas and sharing ideas. And I think that this altuofianco booklet, if you have it, it's a booklet, it's a PDF, and it is full of links for videos, tests, for lesson plans, templates, slides, PowerPoints. If you have this, I hope you found it useful. If you have not got it, a 7. Oh, harsh. Elena. Okay. Altuofianco. No? Is that an 8? Oh, man. I've got to really work at this. I thought Italian was so easy. And, you know, I think this booklet, this Altuofianco booklet, is a fantastic resource. Please make sure you have it and use it. And I think I've also learned by watching so many webinars and reading so many blogs, it's very easy to sort of think, yeah, you know, that's a good idea. And I make lists, but I have to really make myself go there, you know, really try something. And I think that we quickly adapted to the technology. Maybe you were using Teams, Microsoft Teams. Maybe you were using Google Classroom, okay? Oh, by the way, if you don't have this booklet of all these free resources from Ellie, contact your local Ellie representative, okay? Find out where he or she lives and knock on the door and say, I want my free resources. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Send an email or message on Facebook for these free resources. And I've used them myself. And I think it's wonderful. We've all been able to share so much expertise from people, teachers who, well, let's be honest, they've been saying that technology is a good thing in the classroom for a long time, okay? And my experience as a trainer and a teacher until 7 years ago, 8 years ago, was okay. I mean, not bad, but I would not tell you that I was a blended learning teacher. But my background is working with publishers like Ellie, and I go around to schools and colleges and universities. And my job has often been to show teachers how a digital platform will work. Maybe it's a course book online. Maybe it's how to teach reading, or how to use graded readers, or how to use an assessment platform. But that's never the end of the story, is it? It's how do I use that? How do I make my lessons creative? And I think, Carla would like some free material. Okay, so contact your local Ellie person. And I think we have to just keep remembering, what do I need to achieve? And I think that at this point, a year into the challenge, we've learned a lot. So in the chat, in the comments, maybe, could you, I think, Francesca, it's not the right order, but I think we've got something about advantages of teaching. Let's look at the positives. What are the advantages of teaching on Zoom, for example? Have you found that teaching this way has produced advantages? I'm just going to quickly go to that part, because I was asking some of the students as well as teachers some of the advantages. Thank you, Francesca, because there are a lot of negatives. Of course, we can't read the classroom. You have no idea what an amazing shock that was, you know, to see, I don't know, where are they here? Are they listening? Oh, it was like going into a boxing match to fight with your hands tied behind your back and blindfolded, was it not? And by the way, any comments, please, in English. I have no Italian. So if Francesca can read those comments, that's fantastic. Oh, they are from Ellie. Look at this, by the way. I mean, in the classroom, look, you've got your face right in front of them. So imagine that you're teaching a student's pronunciation. Well, normally you're at the back of you're in the classroom, okay? And there's 30 students, and you're teaching them. Let's think of a good one here, okay? What about this one, okay? Think and think. Not I think so. No, and here's the other thing I think is really cool. In the classroom, they can't see you going, I think, yeah, I think, no, and you can really, that's one of the things of teaching English, which is so cool. You can really get up there. Or maybe, okay, maybe when they are practicing pronunciation, normally you have to pick on the students, and they don't like it, do they? they're in the class, the friends are making them say, they feel stupid. And now in the privacy of their home, they can maybe feel less inhibited. Did you find that? I think I've heard a lot that some students' behavior changed, which is fantastic. If they normally did not participate in class, but actually at home, they felt more comfortable, more liberated. Did that happen to you? Or maybe it was the other way around. Students who normally participated a lot suddenly were not so communicative on chat. And that's nobody's fault, but it's an interesting dynamic. And if you consider and reflect on those behavioral changes in students, that's something we can use later. Because when we go back to a normal situation, I wonder if we really want to go back to classroom only. What do you think? Classroom only? Or would you like to stay as you are, teaching from home? No, I know that. Okay. That's the feeling about staying at home, I think, and teaching just from your desk. But there are benefits, aren't there, like we've seen. What else did I find from students? Oh, here's another good one. You could record your lessons. Now, did you do that? Did you record lessons? Because look, at school, gosh, even now, if I was a student, sometimes I go daydreaming, or for 1 hour with a teacher or 45 minutes, how much do you remember, really? And how good are your notes? Look, my notes are terrible. It's just never good notes. And I wish I could go back in time to when I was at school 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I wish that I could have had a recording of those lessons, or even university, to just play back, because I couldn't remember half of the things. I wasn't a good note taker. And here's another good one, all right? When you record your lesson, you got to see yourself. Now, look, no one's going to watch. Well, maybe you have to show your boss or your principal, but it's not a bad thing to watch yourself present. And if you don't like it, it's because you're not used to it. It doesn't mean that you're bad or you look fat or old or whatever you think. We all judge ourselves. But it's only because we're not used to recording ourselves. In another world, outside teaching, I also train executives, professionals, really, and teachers on how to give presentations, okay? And a lot of the time it's about overcoming the nerves, which for teachers is less of a problem because my hair is sticking up. Wow. It's so exciting. And I show teachers and professionals how to present. And I say to them, look, record yourself, okay? And record yourself often, because one, you start to forget about the recording. We have smartphones now. We're taking pictures of ourselves. We're doing recordings of ourselves. It shouldn't be such a surprise anymore. And then you can be honest and think, gosh, I move my head too much. I do that. Or my hands are always waving. Can I just maybe slow down? Maybe keep still? Change the pace? Change my voice a little bit with the students. Because when you whisper, they want to listen more. Now, that's harder in the classroom. But if you're talking and I'm saying, you know what happened last week? I'll tell you, I was in the supermarket, okay? And there was a man behind me. And you know what he had? And they have to guess, he had an Ellie book. Yeah, he was reading an Ellie book. And I said, why is that so great? And he says, I'm learning English. Well, I live in Scotland, so it's possible, technically. Okay, but you see what I mean? There's so many things we've learned and we can do if you embrace the change. Now, I know you had a lot of stress, but we're not trying to cure the big virus. That's somebody else's job. We only have to stay true to the material, what I need to do, and make it as interactive as possible. And as I said, this altuofianco booklet is full of resources on how to teach remotely, how to do a good engaged lesson, how to motivate the students. I mean, did you use puppets? So I mean, I don't know. This is a bit young, but it's been great fun. I've been doing what? Yeah, I know. I'm telling them. Yeah. I'm working. I'm busy. You know. He wants to wave. Okay. I mean, if primary teachers have had a really good time, maybe you couldn't do it with secondary, could you? Maybe you could get a Star Wars character, or maybe you could get a character from Guardians of the Galaxy in a land far away, made of vibranium. Oh my goodness, in lockdown, I have seen all the Avengers films. Why? Because my son wanted to be with us. My 14-year-old son wanted to be with his parents in the evening. How crazy is that? How fantastic that your kids actually want to be with you again in the very years when they just want to hide. But they've been upstairs. He's upstairs. And coming down. So we've been talking about it. And here's one thing my son said. He's 14, okay? He was 13 last year. And I said, what, are you enjoying being at home so much? You know, nobody has to tell you, you know, to stop running or wear your uniform. Benji Maria Grazia knows Benji. That's from which course? Special prize, no prizes. Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that's primary, of course. But like I say, I mean, maybe you could take characters from readers, you know? Sherlock Holmes. What have I got here? Journey to the Center of the Earth. So maybe you've been using readers, which is my favorite area, because I don't believe course books work on their own. You need reading. And then you could take the characters to talk, or maybe you could get the students to talk about what's happening as if it was Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Now that's creative. That's not silly, like a primary childish thing. You could say, right, guys, today, I want you to tell me a little bit about what happened at the weekend, you know, the pandemic. If you want to talk about it, maybe you're sick of it, but maybe you want to express something about, you know, you should wear a mask and you should clean your hands. What can we do? And maybe Sherlock Holmes has been so busy solving crimes, he needs Watson to tell him, you should do this, you have to do that. So you're using language, but you've got characters. I was recently doing Treasure Island. Look, you can use the characters from the book. Okay, LE readers, LE graded readers. There are lots of videos on using readers with me on the LE YouTube channel, LE Multimedia, I think it's, and you can use characters from, you know, look at that, Jim Hawkins, Black Dog, Blind Pew, Lamb John Silver. Now, kids, teenagers, are you kidding? They don't like pirates? Of course they do. So those are the advantages. And flipped classroom, that has been a game changer. Did you flip your classroom? What does that mean? It means you give the students some meaningful work that actually you're going to teach the next day, probably, but they have to maybe watch a video or look at some texts or do some listening, maybe do some questions the day before the lesson, or even in the morning, and then later you do it. In other words, you set up your lesson so that the new information is not new. It's sort of warmed up. And by doing the right kind of flipped classroom, you can contact Ellie about that, or probably in the resources, or Google flipped classroom in the language teaching classroom, or English language teaching flipped classroom. Google it. And it gives you all sorts of ideas and ways for students to kind of prepare for the lesson where normally it's all cold information. What's happening? Oh my goodness, it's the third conditional. We've done 2 conditionals already. How many are there? And the flipped classroom has been fantastic. And it gets students to kind of look at videos beforehand. And let's think of some of the tools. Maybe Francesca can remind us about the tools. Which tools have worked for you? Anybody want to make some suggestions? This is your chance to share with others. I would love to know which tools, which technology tools have worked for you. And if you share them, people can go and find out about them if they don't know. For example, everybody knows Kahoot, okay? Well, why is that worth mentioning? Well, there's Kahoots in the altuofianco booklet. Altuofianco. My score is going down on pronunciation. And it's where you can get ready-made Kahoots. Or you can take questions from the course book or the reader, okay, and turn boring exercises into something more interactive. And I think Kahoot has been very, very popular, and not even necessarily, new for the pandemic. Everybody was using Kahoot, but now we realize you've got to do something to change the pace of the lesson. Because here I am talking. I mean, I don't know, maybe we've lost some people already. Maybe they've gone away to find a puppet. But how do you keep the interest of the students? Well, you have to do these things, make something interactive, and ask the students. Did you ask the students for their ideas? Maybe they've heard it. Maybe they smartphones, can't beat them. Did you use smartphones in the classroom? Normally you couldn't at school, but at home, lifesaver, because when everything breaks down and the technology breaks down, you need a back channel, don't you? A WhatsApp group, Facebook Messenger group. I wonder what you used. But you say at the beginning of the lesson, remember, guys, if it all shuts down, if I disappear, we're going to go onto WhatsApp. And of course, ideally, you prepare some material that they can always do when the technology breaks down. And that can be different material from week to week. I recently heard about a tool called Spiral, Spiral, Spiral. And a student, a friend of my son's, told me about it. Their school were using it because it allowed students to offer the answers to the teacher, but privately. Now, maybe you have that already with WhatsApp, but this Spiral, I think, or maybe there are other applications. And I thought that's a really interesting thing, because so many students, maybe they don't say anything because they don't want to be wrong, or they're embarrassed. And okay, maybe they chat, they're okay, but maybe they still want to make you see that they want to give you an answer, but they just don't want to look stupid. So there are apps for helping you assess learners on an individual basis live, and yet not make the student feel uncomfortable. And I think we have to remember, whether we're in the classroom or online, what does it feel like to be a kid? We're learning a language, and we have no idea what it's like to be a kid, a teenager, or a primary school student or pupil being online. So we have to ask them. And I think that's been I hope you've done that. I hope you've asked the students, is this working? What could we do differently? We're a team. You don't have to give up your authority. You're not losing your job. You want them to have a good experience. And I hope you found that. And if you're looking for ideas, as I said, the altuofianco booklet will give you lots of ideas from Ellie. And if you have a local contact, please ask them, because this is put together lots of things that are tried and tested. And I'm happy to be part of that. I wrote a couple of articles in there. One of them is called All Change, which it's got lots of links to articles and videos to cope with the change. Even now, it's relevant. It's not about what a big shock this is. It's how we can adapt what we do. And the other one is about remote teaching. Lots of links that I liked, that I use, because we're never the expert. We can always learn something new. So I share links in my article. So if you look for my name in that booklet, you can see what I pulled together from people who have way more experience than me, because that's what we do. You go to the people who can make the whole thing good. So I'm totally humbled by the entire remote teaching experience, because it makes you think, right, well, I've got to really work now to make sure I'm not going to lose my students. I want them to be okay. And well-being, that's another one where we had to try, didn't we? I think, Francesca, you can remind us all on that. Well-being. What did we do? How much, I wonder, did we really think a lot about student anxiety in the classroom before remote teaching? I mean, absolutely. I know that you care. I know you love your students. Some of them are challenging, I know. And I know that you care how they feel. But this really made us think, didn't it? Or doesn't it? About how they're feeling. Because you don't know. You know, look at that. They're looking, you know. And of course, at school, they look like this, maybe. But all they are, maybe they had a bad night, or maybe they had an argument, or maybe something's wrong. But that was at the old world. Now they have many real worries, you know, serious illness in their family. Possibly they've lost loved ones. They're worried about the virus. They don't understand. And now I think it's been more and more important to look after ourselves as teachers and look after the students and ask them and teach them. And I wish at school that I had been in a generation like now where teachers are encouraging students to open up about feeling low, down, anxious, how to breathe through difficult times. Take 5 minutes to meditate a little bit. For meditation, we know we don't have to go to a temple in Tibet and shave our heads and wear robes. We can simply teach our students to say, look, it's okay. Find a space, 5 minutes, breathe in, stay in the moment. And I hope that you've been looking more and more at these mindful techniques, the way that we can calm our minds. And again, loads of information is out there on well-being for students. Which brings me to sort of CPD, you know, continuing professional development. And I think it was always the job of a teacher to keep looking for new things to do, try new things for our own benefit, because maybe there's a better way. And of course, now there's a big new way, and there are blogs and webinars. I've seen some fantastic things to make me consider what I could do differently. I do training online, and I tell you a thing I did recently. Okay, don't tell anybody. It's private, this, isn't it? I did some acting classes online because I always wanted to do some acting, and even some comedy. Yeah. Why? Well, it's a hobby. I want to be involved in entertaining sometimes when I'm not teaching. Okay. But I also thought it would be good to do something different from thinking about work. But above all, I wanted to see how a course looked with a teacher on Zoom and interactive exercises. I wanted to be the student again, because then I would realize what it feels like, and what the teacher does, whether they're good or bad, and I learned a lot. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be a good actor or a funny person. The audience can decide. That's another life. I might take him. But here's the point. I think what's amazing is that you just realize that you need to look at our life and our working day from another perspective. So get yourself on a course, you know, do something that you really fancy doing. It'll maybe make you happier at the weekend. We're all stuck at home. Maybe you've done this already. So the well-being is a good one there, and then continuing professional development. I'm going to finish now a little bit, I think. I might do another one. If they let me come back, I'd like to do another one. I don't know if I've been any help, but I think I want to pull together, at this stage, the thoughts. And in fact, on the 31st of March, I'm doing a webinar, a live webinar with Ellie, the lovely people at Ellie. I chose to work with Ellie for two reasons. I'm only enjoying one of them at the moment, okay? Another secret. One of them is they have good books and they're nice people, all right? And I've worked in publishing for 30 years, so I know what I'm talking about. But they're also Italian, okay? Which means they've got great food. And I was thinking, when I come over for training to understand these lovely books and materials and puppets, I'm going to get good food. And pandemic has put a halt on my experience in Italy. So so I'm looking forward to lockdown so I can join you when I come visiting your schools, which I do, and conferences. But on the 31st of March, okay, I'm going to be doing a webinar, and you can check out the information on Facebook, and keep a look out on Facebook for more things coming by me, by other trainers, more information from blogs and booklets to help you with resources. 31st of March, and I'm going to be talking about how to adapt your course book online, okay, and share ideas. Again, some things will be new, some of them might be things you've discovered. It's collaborative, all right? I really like doing them because I like the creativity of another benefit of Zoom. You know, if I'm saying, look, we're reading, I've chosen, well, let's look at Journey to the Center of the Earth. The students have a book, okay? But with Zoom, I can just literally Zoom and say, look, what's going on here? All right, what are they doing? Of course, I can prepare my lesson on PowerPoint and just switch the slide, all right? Why? Well, because a course book has got so many things going on. And when you're in the classroom, in a physical classroom, you have no idea what they're looking at. It's like herding cats, isn't it? That's what we say. It's herding cats together. No, what are you looking at? Open your book. Unit 4, it's not, what do you, stop talking. On remote teaching, you're going, right, guys, this book, right? Page 25. Whoa, what's that? What's that? Volcano, yes. So, and you have complete control on what they see. And that is one of the most golden pieces of teaching where I know I can tell them that they're only looking at this thing. My instructions and my questions can be super clear, so I guide them through it, all right? So I will be showing you, well, join me, because even though I'm looking at some of the new primary course books from Ellie and some other older ones, you're going to find that you can adapt them to any course, okay? And, you know, comment, tell me during the webinar, what can I do? Do you want more ideas on grammar? Do we do more on skills? But I'm going to show you loads of things that will help us to use the course book online, whether it's print, okay? Maybe the students only have a paper book, no problem. I can make that work, and so can you. And also this altuofianco, pronunciation is getting worse, altuofianco. There are also lots of new titles for this year from Ellie, and you can find out all about it. So contact your Ellie representative for the booklet, and I would be delighted to hear from you if you contact Ellie with questions for me or in the comments here. And I'm going to finish with, what can I finish with here? I'm still here. I would like to say thank you and a happy face, but I need to shave a little bit now. I've been talking for 30 minutes and I grow a beard very fast. I would like to say a big thank you to Ellie, to you, for joining me and even caring enough about such a long journey to get onto Facebook and watch more about how we're in this together and sharing ideas. And I'm happy to be part of that. And send your comments and questions to Ellie if you wish, and I can keep notes before the 31st and make that part of the webinar. This is for you, okay? It's for you, and I really want to help. That's for primary. There are others coming, so keep following Facebook, or you know, just subscribe to the YouTube channel wherever you get information, and it'll be an absolute pleasure. And of course, when things get back to normal, I'll be looking for the nearest decent restaurant in your city. In the meantime, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Francesca Bardaloni for her support, and I'm going to hand it back to her and answer any particular questions that I may have forgotten. Francesca?
Here I am. I was always there.
Okay, great.
So there are some comments, live comments. Have you seen them?
I'm looking now. I think
many thanks for you.
Are there any questions I've missed that I could answer perhaps now? You know, anything that would really be, or maybe I've forgotten. Put in your question now in the comment, and I can see certainly the Facebook comments. Well, I'm glad you found it interesting. You don't have to be polite. If there's something that I'm missing, I can maybe do something else another time, or I can help you now. Okay, Paola, it's a date. Okay, you and me and whoever else. Bring food. Bring your favorite Italian recipe. Francesca, can you see any questions that I have to address before I go?
We have answered. No.
All right.
Well, thank you. Some feedback about your the recording here, Antonella.
Recording Antonella. Recording my voice was one of the worst experiences in my whole life. Well, of course, I can't chat to you face to face, really, but I know how you feel. But we have to ask ourselves the question: who decided that it was the worst experience? You did, okay? Why didn't you like it? Maybe you have a judgment about the way your voice sounds. Well, maybe that's not because of your voice. Maybe you haven't really ever listened to yourself before. I can tell you, whenever I have recorded anybody's voice in the family, when I was a kid, and this is relevant, okay? I know I was a kid a long time ago. I was one of the first people to buy a tape recorder and a microphone. I loved it. I made sound effects. I made my little shows. I made little radio shows with my voices and noises. And and he walked into the room. He knocked on the door. Hello, the police here. Open up. And I wanted to record my family. Hello, Granddad. Hello, Nanny, my mum. And whenever I played their voices back, they said, oh, I sound awful. I sound awful. And I didn't know the problem. And of course, it's familiarity. How often do you listen to your voice? I very much doubt that you have a bad voice. So I think let's be positive. It's not how you sound, it's what you say, isn't it? I wrote some comments on YouTube. Cynthia, I can't see those, Francesca, but if you want to see it, salve come, I can't read that, sorry. Please help me if you would translate.
Yeah, it was a question about the certificate.
Okay.
Metteremo il link nella chat per ricevere l'attestato, quindi attendetela alla fine del live streaming. At the end of live streaming will be put on the chat the link to have the certificate.
I suppose I'm really concerned here if I'm missing any questions where someone's thinking, oh, he's talking and he never answered my question. I've seen a few live chats with some celebrities that I really wanted to talk to about a question, and they ignored me because thousands of comments were made at the same time. Anyway, look, I'm here, okay, and it's an absolute pleasure to help you if I have helped. This booklet is good, all right. It's a lot of good stuff. So if you're feeling there's still room for more new ideas, then get in touch with Ellie and this book.
We have a final question here.
Oh, that's great! I love that, Mariangela.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Sometimes there are so if you're in the car and you're listening to this and you can't read the comments. Sometimes there are so many resources that I find it difficult to choose the most effective. It's so time consuming. Any suggestions to do it in less time? What a wonderful suggestion. That has been a problem for me and everybody else. And here's my advice. And I think it's just good, honest advice. In the end, the internet in itself is an infinite resource. News, films, whatever you love or whatever you do for work. I think we have to accept that it's never going to feel, there's always another blog you could read. There's another thing on remote learning. There's another webinar. I think you just have to step back and make a little list of 5 things you're struggling with. 5 things you're struggling with. Maybe it's classroom assessment. Maybe it's keeping the students motivated. Maybe it's how to use videos. Troubleshoot, write them down. Don't tell anybody. Don't share it. It's yours. And go looking for it. And get enough information that you think will cover those problems. And be aware of the fact that you could look for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the one subject, and there will always be more. But sooner or later, you start to see the same things. And after you notice the same things popping up, Good. And maybe also give yourself a time limit. So I've got a problem. Let's say I want to know how to use puppets with my primary learners. All right. Give yourself 1 hour at the weekend. And whatever you find will be enough. I can assure you. You don't have to be perfect. I hope that helps, because that's what I do. And I'm not perfect. And I have felt very overwhelmed because it's my job to find information. And in the end, let it be enough. Okay. As long as it's helping somebody, as long as you're getting what you need out of Benji. Okay. He's still hungry. So we're going to get dinner soon. Anything else? That's a great point. Overwhelming information.
So that's all for now.
All right. Well.
So please
okay.
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our page. So stay tuned for our next live streaming with us and Benji. Okay. Grazie a tutti. Thank you, Henry. Grazie.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Look after yourselves. Great job.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.